David here from Stupid Things People Do and What We Can Learn From Them. That's my vlog. Think of it as Sesame Street, but with Schadenfreude. Today we're going to learn about 1984, counterterrorism, and when and how to report harassment. So, when should you report something? Always, immediately. If you see something, say something. A funny story with that. Being in high school around 9/11, that's been rattling around my brain forever. And I thought I read it in 1984. So I was going to do the whole set up and subvert thing with the 1984 joke. But it turns out, if you see something, say something, comes from September 12th in New York following 9/11. And it's actually really good advice here. When you're dealing with a threat which thrives in secrecy, it's better to over-report than to under-report. Even if you aren't the subject of the behavior and you just see something that makes you uncomfortable. As I've established, this isn't Brave New World and HR is not Big Brother. If you witness harassment, you should bring it to the attention of your supervisor or a designated individual. It's the first step towards addressing the problem. The company cannot work to fix issues that it knows nothing about. But what if you're just told about inappropriate behavior? Well, you should definitely encourage people who are experiencing or witnessing ickiness or ickiness to report it. But if they won't report it, you can still let HR know what's up. Obviously, you tell them you just heard about it, and HR's response probably won't be as comprehensive as if the actual witness reported it. But think of it like this. If you say, hey, I heard this bad thing was happening, and then if the victim comes forward and independently says, hey, this bad thing happened to me, that corroboration does not hurt her case. Real quick aside, by the way. I am being super colloquial about who you should be reporting to. So let me clear that up real fast. Your organization will typically have a designated individual or individuals who you're going to report to. It'll typically be someone in member care or maybe HR. And if they have those people, you can report to them. Or you could also just report to your direct supervisor. Or if somehow member care and your supervisor are actually in cahoots, you can go directly to your HR representatives or to senior leadership. Fear of what will my boss do if I report should not be something which prevents you from reporting. First of all, if they do something bad to you because you reported, that is retaliation. And second of all, you should have options. Now, what does the physical process of reporting look like? Well, it can be formal or informal. Any discussion with a supervisor is going to trigger the complaint process, and complaints do not have to be in writing. However, just because they don't have to be in writing doesn't mean your organization won't encourage them to be. Usually, there's going to be a specific procedure for how they want you to report violations, and typically, there's going to be a written complaint form or an email to the appropriate person or maybe a hotline. The point is, all employees should learn their organization's reporting policy, and generally speaking, they should use it. Though, again, to emphasize, any report triggers obligation on the organization's part to address the report. Real quickly, I want to address Harold. Harold, are you watching this? Harold is an elephant. He lives in the room with me. And I've heard that sometimes it's important to address the elephant in the room if you don't want them to feel left out. Anyway, Harold brought up a good question the other day. Is reporting gossip and slander? No, it's not. I get the question. As Christians, we want to avoid that sort of thing. But making sure that the people who are in charge of protecting the workplace have the information they need to do that protecting, that is not gossip, and that is not slander. Literally, if you look up the definition of gossip, it's usually going to be defined as casual or unconstrained conversations or reports about other people, typically involving details that are not confirmed as being true. And reporting definitely isn't that. Because first of all, it's not unconstrained casual conversation, and if you put your report in writing, it can't be slander. Maybe libel. I'm joking. Seriously. Slander and libel both are the act of making a false statement with the intention of damaging a person's reputation. And making sure the organization has information it needs to protect people, that is the opposite of trying to damage someone's reputation. And actually, there's another side to this gossip, slander, libel question. If Elephant Harold chooses not to report to the right people and instead bottles up that stress, he's likely to start venting with his coworkers, and not only is that unlikely to improve his workplace, that actually may be gossip. Failing to report can actually allow toxic workplaces to develop, and it can allow toxic people to get away with abuse. And if the reason not to report is a fear of gossip or slander, Well, not reporting is more likely to cause gossip than it is to prevent gossip. Anyway, now I'm going to kick things back over to Teresa, and she'll have a quick word on confidentiality and retaliation.